just to be clear, and I'm paraphrasing here, he said in one tweet that the small boats crisis was, I think it was a government-made crisis, and they needed brown-skinned people as a scapegoat. I assume he means for migration figures. I mean, that is somebody that clearly has issues with the government.
Yes, but I mean, Conservative MPs have issues with the government, and governments change over time. Apparently these checks go back 5 years. You think how many changes we've had in 5 years. I think almost everybody will have some criticism of the government in the past 5 years.
But Paul says, do you think it's right to call out people with particular political views if they're antithetical to the government, when they're asked to speak at a government agency which might be with sensitive material?
Well, I'm so disappointed, but I think in this case, the position is absurd. This expert's views on Brexit or immigration are irrelevant to his professional expertise on an important subject. And this is an example of the civil service gold-plating the guidance to absurdity. I think we need to disentangle the intention and the implementation of what you call the edict and what I think is just guidance, sensible guidance. It was brought in to regulate something was getting out of hand in government diversity networks, where, I mean, people don't know what they are. They're kind of Whitehall's equivalent of your student union society or club.
And you've called these out. I mean, in a sense, by calling attention to them, haven't you ramped up the government's antennae? But haven't you ramped up the government's antennae to look for anything as some kind of problem?
Well, thank you for crediting our public service journalism for inspiring this guidance. The fact was, and this was in a period, say, I think in November 21, where there was a whole host of these things getting out of hand. You had sessions where, I've got a list of them here, a beginner's guide to crystal healing and deep relaxation. In the same month at the Department of Work and Pensions, you had a lunch with a witch, including a Q&A. That was cancelled after our report on that. A few days later, they were hosting a bite-sized session on becoming a pagan. I don't know what the pagans can do for the Department of Work and Pensions, but I don't think they're going to solve our problems.
Edward Lucas.
I mean, this is kind of student union politics. We are a serious country. Chemical weapons is a serious topic. Dan Cassetta is a serious expert. I think it's outrageous that the government is so worried about what Paul and his blog may say about someone, that they are, as he points out, ludicrously gold-plating these secret rules that have never been discussed by Parliament, and giving people no right of appeal. And who's to say impersonation is rife on Twitter? Who's to say that the social media account actually belongs to the person concerned?
On another point, Paul says a serious point about this, which Dan Gazzetta raised, which was that he saw nowhere where the rules were written down. Well, I suppose there can be no rules which presumably cover someone who's an expert in chemical weapons and someone who is a crystal healer. There's nowhere that this actually has been examined properly. Is that fair to say that there needs to be some gradation, as it were, of cancelling?
Well, certainly there should be some common sense in this. I mean, bear in mind that this, I think one of the cases that the BBC reported was Miss Gopal, a Cambridge academic, who insulted Priti Patel in pretty crude language. But you can't expect the Home Office to have her as a guest after that, can you? I mean, it'd be a bit ridiculous.
But sorry, Paul,